Welcome back to the show. We got another great one lined up. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on X, YouTube, and digperspectives.com for exclusive content. Right now, $2.81 trillion market cap. The market's off 1.3, but we see Bitcoin 83,300 plus, Ethereum 1,800 plus, and XRP at the number 4 spot, 231. We're off 0.1 on the 24, and we're off 8.1 on the 7-day, much like the rest of the market. Looking at the range of price between 222 on the bottom and 234 on the top. We'll keep an eye on it. Let's get started, ladies and gentlemen. It's XRP Las Vegas. Did you get your ticket? We're going to have people from the White House Crypto Summit on stage. You're going to be able to meet them, shake their hand, take a picture with them, ask them a question if you'd like. You can do all of those things, let alone hear all the incredible information, insights, and breaking news right from the stage. It's happened every year, and it's going to happen again this year, and I happen to know that for a fact. So make sure you get your ticket, ladies and gentlemen. XRPLasVegas.com. Let's get started. Elon Musk explains how to end inflation and drop interest payments forever. And this goes hand in hand with where the conversation is going with stable coins and crypto. So stay with me here because I believe everything that we're witnessing is tied into moving to a new digital on-chain economy. I'll explain, but let's listen.
Provided the economy grows faster than the money supply, which means you stop the government overspending and the waste, and the output of real useful goods and services exceeds the increase in the money supply, you have no inflation. And you also drop the interest payments that people pay. The reason the interest payments are so high is because the national debt keeps increasing. So the government is competing to sell debt with the private citizens. This drives up the interest rate. If you cut back on the deficit, you actually have an amazing situation for people because you get rid of inflation and you drop the interest rates. And that means people's mortgage payments go down, their credit card payments go down, their car payments go down, their student loans go down. Their life becomes more affordable and their standard of living improves.
So there you have it. So that is the breakdown of just simple economics about how to get the inflation under control, right? And it starts with spending, cutting out waste, abuse, and fraud. Now, for those of you that don't know, and I've talked about this a lot in the private group, the Freedom Zone, we talk about why would they do this now? Well, first of all, it needs to be done because the spending is out of control. So on its face, that makes sense in itself. But the other part to this, the Doge going through and scanning all these government agencies, is because I believe they're about to tokenize every one of those government agencies where applicable so they can monitor all the spending and transactions from each government agency, which is a fantastic idea. And you would not want to tokenize the waste, abuse, and fraud before putting it on the new blockchain or payment rails, right? So very good idea. Nonetheless, what kind of rails will they be? Well, let's listen to this very quickly as Robert Mitchnick says what the story is. From BlackRock, used to be at Ripple. Help come up with the XRP calculator for price with Susan Athey. That Robert Mitchnick. Listen close.
Financial institutions' efforts on private blockchains in the past, and maybe sort of the shift to public blockchains, the regulatory political temperature that has kind of been changing in recent years to kind of lead to that.
Yeah, well, I think the verdict is in on the private blockchains, and it's not good. That was obviously where a lot of the TradFi exploration in this space occurred in the early years. In particular, that was really all the banks and some of the other TradFi institutions had comfort with. But the track record is what it is, and it reflects the fact that there's been very, very de minimis actual adoption in an economic, commercial way at scale of any of these private blockchain projects. And I think, in hindsight, at least, that makes sense in terms of the curbing of the value prop of blockchain's potential that a private blockchain represents. And so Public blockchains are increasingly the focus, even for TradFi firms. Maybe not at all yet, but certainly that's the direction of travel. And we've seen obviously encouraging regulatory guidance over the last couple of weeks that help support the notion that this is now a suitable territory for even banks in the U.S. to engage in.
Now, same conversation. Now let's listen to the gentleman from Standard Charter.
So public blockchains, as a bank, I mean, we've taken a stance that we believe that digital assets in their entirety are going to be there for the foreseeable future, if not permanent part of the fabric of financial services. So
there's that. Now I got to remind everybody that the CEO from Standard Charter had done a pilot and admitted it with XRP years ago.
Obviously, public blockchains are something that have been burgeoning, and that's where the volume is and activity is. And as correctly pointed out by Robbie earlier, that majority of the activity has been in public blockchains, and private blockchains have not seen the successes we were hoping for about 6-7 years ago.
It's interesting because the XRP ledger, open permissionless blockchain, it's so open, it's a public good. Yeah, you heard it from BlackRock. Now you hear it from the head of digital assets at Standard Chartered. Majority of the activity has been on public blockchains, and private blockchains have not seen the successes we were hoping for. Yeah, why are you not following subjective views? I don't know what's going on. Ratha Kahneman points to it and says, looking back, it's amazing to think that Ripple now holds 60 plus regulatory approvals worldwide. This means that XRP's use and Ripple's growth as a crypto payments company have occurred even without those approvals up until now. It forces you to reconsider what early means for a network designed to connect global finance. Yeah, think so. Yeah, Wrath of Commons, another one you should follow. I know I'm a little too speculative and conspiratorial probably for him, but he still puts out great stuff. I still love what he does. And here we see Austin King. I touched on this the other day, but stay with me here. Public blockchains. You just heard BlackRock, Robbie Mitchnick. You just heard Standard Charter say the public blockchains are what's working. Well, here's the 5 core layers of the internet that we're using to communicate to each other right now. Well, what's missing? What's missing? I said, Austin, we need your help here. Where would the XRP ledger sit in this new illustration of the true internet of value, not the internet of information we were just looking at, but the internet of value? It's missing all of these 3 sections here in order for the internet to function properly for the new internet of value. I asked Austin, we need your help. Can you tell us where XRP goes here? I think I kind of knew, but nonetheless, I said, that was the illustration he had. And then I said, Austin, where does it go? He said, I appreciate the feedback. He says, XRP is a layer 1 and will sit at the bottom of the protocol stack for the internet of value. On top of this is where protocols like ILP and Omni sit, making it easy to leverage all these L1s and simpler to get this done on chain. I said, thank you so much. So XRP Ledger will sit right here, and ILP and Omni's chain and other chains will sit on top of that. And that's beautiful to know, right? Because this is what it looks like. Yeah, I get to sit down with Austin next week. I'm super excited about it too. But again, I'm showing you this because we don't have the internet of value yet. Standard Charter and BlackRock just told you it's going to be public chains to be the winner, right? Well, we know that there's private chains built to plug into the public side of the XRP ledger for banks. Hello, this is how it's going to go. And this is the foundation of the internet of value, ladies and gentlemen. It's us. You own the rails of the internet of value. That's what you own. Remember what Glenn Hutchins said. The value's in the protocol. The price of the token is a distraction. Here's more evidence of that from Smoke Dog. Are you ready for the internet of value? Also, Ripple does not replace existing relationships, but instead plugs in to existing structures. Financial institutions that use Ripple must continue to rely on the bilateral agreements they had in place before joining Ripple. Ripple provides only the rail on which payments move. Ripple plugs into an already vibrant, regulated payment ecosystem. Yeah, it's called the banking system, right? Ripple plugs into existing structures and serves as only payment rails. You own the new payment rails of the world, ladies and gentlemen. That's what you own. You're a 1%er. You won the lottery in slow motion. You're a Vanderbilt, but don't mess the money up like the Vanderbilt family did. Okay? Let's get that part right. Ripple's discussions with regulators have centered on Ripple's status as a third-party vendor to financial institutions. That's where we're at. This video backs up that they'll
James
plug
will enable
into
the adoption of ISO 20022 for cross-border
Listen.
payments to be carried out in a smoother and less disruptive way.
ISO 20022 is going to help cross-border payments be carried out in a smoother and less disruptive way. Come on in. Yeah, and let's remember this from Brad Garlinghouse back in 2017. You really want to get this job done? You got to connect the repositories, the banks, the financial institutions. And as much as there's trillions for Bitcoin, there's trillions and trillions in the banking system that Bitcoin just can't handle.
Yes. I mean, ultimately, as you know, Ripple is really focused on how do we enable an internet of value? How do we make value move the way information moves today? And that's our big kind of multi-year, 10-year view of how the world will evolve. And it's really how do we dial that back and to make it tactical and real today and tomorrow. And I think if you want to enable an internet of value, you've got to connect the repositories of value.
Hello.
And the repositories of value, as big as the Bitcoin value proposition is today, the banks own trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars of assets. So if we want to enable an internet of value, we've got to connect the banks and payment service providers and MSBs. And we're excited to have made a bunch of progress on that.
And that was 2017. Yeah, how about that? Do you think the U.S. government treasury will use Ripple custody in the XRP ledger for storing digital assets for reserve and stockpile? 72% of you said yes. That's where that's at. You see what Standard Charter's already been piloted with XRP years ago. And they're saying it's public, open public chains. Come on, man. This is getting crazy good. This gentleman here's got an idea about what's going on. Now, this is a gold guy, but he calls it right. And as I've been telling you, I believe Bitcoin is a band-aid for the financial transition of this economy. And now that we've seen that it's being adopted and brought into a strategic reserve in the United States without revealing the 4 Satoshi's identities that the Department of Homeland Security has already interviewed, tells me it's a government psyop. And it is a band-aid for multiple things. And I think he explains it well in this video.
If you inflate Bitcoin, like we did oil, in the 1970s, Kissinger came out to OPEC and said, look, we're going to raise oil price, now dollar back, by at least 400% to pay off some of our Vietnam debts. That didn't come out until 2010, 2014, when some OPEC guys wrote a book about this. It's not a conspiracy theory. They deliberately inflated oil, which is dollar-backed, the petrodollar, to help pay down post-war debts. Okay, fine, clever. Kissinger's very clever. You could argue that we're inflating Bitcoin politically, making it headlines, making it part of the biggest donor class for Trump. Let's inflate Bitcoin as an entry drug to get more people into stablecoin. Stablecoins are backed by 85% by treasuries now. They are. And so it's an indirect way of getting investors sexy into Bitcoin, now into stablecoins, coins like Tether, so that you can absorb unwanted IOUs from Uncle Sam. In other words, an indirect way of inflating an asset class to benefit your debt problem. Just like El Salvador smartly got into Bitcoin in the right moment, and they used that to pay down a lot of debt. You could artificially inflate Bitcoin, or naturally inflate it, or whatever you want to call it, to help pay down debt if you have a Bitcoin reserve. That works if Bitcoin only goes up and to the right, and maybe it will. Maybe it will. I think it's an incredibly dangerous thing to take away the most important asset, the one that the rest of the world wants, and try and replace with Bitcoin. I don't even think Trump believes that. And let's remember, this Bitcoin strategic reserve, this Loomis bill, isn't about the government. I mean, Loomis wants to sell gold to buy Bitcoin. That's madness to me. To me, it's madness. But right now, they're just
Loomis wants to sell gold. Sorry, can you say it again?
Yeah, well, part of this plan is, it's not just we want to have a Bitcoin strategic reserve asset and we want to revalue gold. She wants to revalue gold, or the Loomis bill wants to revalue gold, but They also want to at some point sell gold to buy more Bitcoin. Then you're actually, as a nation, adopting Bitcoin as a strategic reserve asset. What the stockpiling that Trump was talking about in the election campaign was all that ill-gotten Bitcoin from money laundering, sex trafficking, whatever, dark state stuff. We're gonna take the confiscated Bitcoin and put that aside and use that. Fine. And if it goes up, that's great. If we get to the point where we're actually, through an act of Congress or the Department of Treasury, selling gold to stockpile what I consider, me personally, a speculation asset to go long, like it's like going long Nvidia or long Bitcoin, but Bitcoin's different, it's money, they say, for a long-term plan, because it's part of the new digital future, okay, there's people that will say that's great. I think that would be the sign to me when the shoe shine boy tells you to buy a stock, you know the market's overpriced. When we start getting that desperate, to buy Bitcoin to get ourselves out of a national debt crisis because someday it will be money or someday it will be a medium of exchange. Well, I mean, what does fiat money mean? It's whatever the government tells you it is. So I suppose if the government wants to make Bitcoin money, then it's money. But until I see that actually happening, I see this as a desperate sign, not an intelligent sign. And Michael Saylor will ridicule me to no end for not understanding the future and not understanding blockchain, not understanding crypto, and certainly not understanding the decentralized advantages of Bitcoin. He could be right. I don't think he is. But again, to me, it's crazy, absolute crazy. And I would say that regardless of whether I was long or short gold.
Absolutely. And listen, I say, look, I love gold, I love silver, I love crypto, you know, and my thought is like, listen, if they want to have Bitcoin, but let's not be selling any gold. Gold is God's money. Okay. Let's not be selling any gold. That is just a bridge too far. You want to purchase Bitcoin, you want to acquire it or whatever, some other way. Do that, but don't sell gold. Don't sell gold for XRP. I'm the same way there, right? So in case that's a maximalist thing people think, no, don't sell gold to attain something else. Find another way to get the money from somewhere else to get the new thing that you want. Don't get rid of your gold. What's wrong with you? You know, what the hell's wrong with people? I don't get it. Nonetheless, I do think it speaks to what I have said here about the idea that Bitcoin's been floated in as this financial band-aid. I've even gone as far as to say, for the geopolitical argument's sake, you're watching the tariffs be used as a leverage tool to get U.S. manufacturing back in this country and out of China. And in order to do that, I think you have to recognize Bitcoin, or China is the second largest holder of Bitcoin, which means that if they put it in a strategic reserve in the US, they're obviously going to drive the price up. And who's going to benefit? The second largest holder of Bitcoin, China, right? Well, if they're going to benefit and you're ripping the manufacturing out of their country, which is the heart of their economy, and they're in a recession right now, this may be the parting gift to keep us from physical war with China. So more to come. We'll follow it. Make no mistake, I played this the other day. Listen to this.
If a country tells me, sir, we like you very much, but we're going to no longer adhere to being in the reserve currency, we're not going to salute the dollar anymore, I'll say, that's okay. And you're going to pay a 100% tariff on everything you sell into the United States. And we love your product. I hope you sell a lot of it into the United States, but you're going to pay 100% tariff. He will then follow it up by saying, sir, it would be an honor to stay with the reserve currency. That will be like just playing. That's not even chess, that's checkers. But you don't have other, listen to this, you don't have other people that can talk that way.
That's the truth. You don't have other people that can talk that way because he's not beholden to anybody politically. That's the point of it all. Make no mistake, BRICS wanting to make their own gold-backed dollar, have their own payment system, the idea of ditching the US dollar, the tariffs coming from President Trump and this new administration equal the new on-chain digital economy, XRP Ledger, and a few others. I just went over the protocols that are missing. Austin King told us XRP Ledger sits at the better protocol for the Internet of Value. Why? Well, my personal opinion is because the XRP Ledger has a decentralized exchange in it, and the rest of the chains of the world will plug into it to make the best markets around the world, not in a state, not in a country, for the world. And the reality is that's the new world we're moving to, ladies and gentlemen. take yourself a moment to embrace it. And all of these things that are happening are absolutely tied to getting this done. I absolutely believe this is what we're seeing here. Tariffs are working. India broke away from BRIC Alliance, saying they have no interest in joining China, Russian, or Brazilian attempts to undermine the US dollar as Modi and Trump embrace. You think it's a game now? You think all these things are separate now? And now we just got the stablecoin bill that just passed the committee, and now the banking GOP committee, and it's going out to the Senate floor for a vote. And I bet you it passes.
You know, we had the fentanyl 23-0. This one was significant because it was historic. Historic in the nature of bringing innovation back to America because we're not over-regulating it. That's great news. Stablecoin legislation heading to the floor of the Senate. Thank you to the entire staff for making this possible. Thanks to Senator Haggerty and Lummis and also Brooks for teaming together to get this historic day in the books. More to come. God bless the United States of America.
You better believe it. And God bless Tim Scott. We love him. Senator Bill Haggerty retweets as we got the vote going through to the floor, as you just heard from Senator Scott. Senator Haggerty says this is a broad effort to get this bill to its current form. I want to thank Chairman Scott, Senator also Brooks, Lummis, Gillibrand, Kim, Warner, Blunt, Rochester, Gallego, and all my Republican colleagues for working with me on this. More improvements to come, but today was a historic day for stablecoin legislation. He retweets Brad Garlinghouse's tweet. What? Are you kidding me? This is remarkable to me. I shared it and I said, when a senator who wrote the bill for stablecoin quotes your posts, lock in. This is amazing what we're witnessing. And at the same time, we saw this gentleman who happens to be the CEO of Stripe.
Thanks
Are
for the
you
question.
kidding me? One of the largest payment companies in the world now. And he's going to compare the petrodollar system and the new stablecoin idea. Take a listen to what he says.
We see many examples of this. I think of the comparison to the petrodollar system, where starting back in the 70s, the series of agreements with Gulf states created an enormous new source of secular demand for dollars. We're seeing the same thing happening today in emerging markets, where people are taking enthusiastic advantage of this new liberty and this new capability where they can hold dollars and they can, again, get direct access to the world's preeminent reserve currency. I think this is a really big deal for global liberty and for global prosperity.
CEO of Stripe. Replacing the petrodollar system is exactly what we talked about for years. Stablecoins replace the need for the petrodollar agreement. What they haven't told us yet is that XRP would be used to underpin it. I absolutely believe that's the plan. It's a historic moment. That moment when a payment provider testifies in front of a congressional committee that stablecoins can be more effective in supporting the US dollar as the world reserve currency than the petrodollar system. That's going to do it for me. That's where we're going. Stablecoin legislation heads out to the Senate floor as you find out that the Internet of Value, it doesn't exist without XRP Ledger in the stack. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. I'll catch all of you on the next one.